What's up, family? This is Nathan Gorham with the Gorham Companies. Listen, I wanted to give y'all I wanted to spill some tea, basically, that I had learned over the past year or so dealing with certain situations. So, if you have a property where a tenant isn't paying rent, or if you have a property where there's like a squatter inside, like you have to evict them through the legal process, right? The legal process can take probably like 2 months for you to file the papers, get a court date, go to court, and get a judgment for possession of your property, right? So that can take a while. It can take like up to 2 months, right? Now, if within that 2 months, if you're at the end of the year and that 2 months, the end of that 2 months is going to be like in December around the holiday time, the sheriff in Baltimore, they will not really perform an eviction, especially for non-payment of rent, in December or January around the holiday season. And I don't know if it's because the sheriffs, they want to be like Santa Claus and like make sure everybody has a good Christmas, or if they feel bad about, kicking people out during the holiday season. As a landlord, you're like, look, I feel bad about not having rent for a whole season, but sheriffs, they're very, in our city, is very tenant friendly. So they probably are not going to perform the eviction if it's supposed to be performed in December, right? Which means that even though you go through the legal process and at the end of the 60 days, it's December, which means if you start in October, November, December, you get an eviction date, that eviction probably won't happen until February, quite honestly. So you're looking at October, November, December, January, February. So you're looking at 4 months of just stuck in eviction purgatory. One of the things that you may want to consider, like if you know that that through all of the paperwork and everything that you have to file, if you know that eventually when you're finished, this eviction date will end up happening in December or around the holiday time period, you may want to consider, like in September, going to your tenant and saying, look, I'll give you cash to move out. Like, I'll give you a couple $1,000s. You're behind, you're probably not going to get caught up, or it's going to take you more time to get caught up than it would to, this is inevitable, essentially. So I'll offer you cash for that property so you can go out, find yourself a place or what have you, relocate, in exchange for, one, getting possession of the property. So you offer them, essentially it's called cash for keys. And you also agree like not to sue them for the money, because if you go through the eviction process, once that eviction goes on, you can also sue them for the money that is due under that they haven't paid, and any other kind of bills and all that kind of stuff. So you can also say, hey, look, I won't sue you for that money. And then also you get to avoid having an eviction on your record, which means if you have an eviction on your record, it's even more difficult to find and get accepted for your next apartment. So you may want to consider offering them that opportunity and saving yourselves months of not getting rent and being able to get access to your property sooner. Turn that unit, and if you can get them to agree to, like, say you have in September, you're going to go file. You may say in September, early October, say, look, I could pay you a couple $1,000s if you will move out, and you get access to that property in November, December. Then that will give you like a 2-month head start on turning that property and getting a new tenant in there. So I'm not saying that it's the solution all the time, but it might be something that you want to consider. Because it costs, you hate to pay that money, but you're going to lose more by going through the whole process. because of the way the sheriff's office is set up and the way that the city is set up. So something to consider. Love you guys. Pulling for you. I know you've been thinking about it. It's time. I know I give you some horror stories, or I don't even know, tips about tenants and things like that, but I will say it's better to own rental property. It's better to be an investor than just kind of like tossing your money out the window or not investing or what have you. It's time. Like, this is time. It's still a good thing to do. It still puts food on your table. It still secures a financial future for your family. So even with all of the aggravation, sometimes you have to deal with tenants, with all of the just the annoyances and stuff like that, it's still worth it. It's still worth it. So now's the time. This is your year. Let's do it.